Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the DC Multiverse Batman from McFarlane Toys. And it's only called Batman, I'm guessing, because I didn't want the word hell on the front of a package where it might be seen in stores. But if you look at the side, you'll know what it is. It's the HELLBAT suit. I don't personally care for that, but I get it, so that's fine. Whatever, does it matter? I don't know. This figure is one of the better ones that they released so far. It's definitely not without problems, but it definitely is not without some benefit, and I think that's important to note. Not every figure in this line is absolute garbage, so that's pretty cool. This one is probably my personal favorite, maybe short of one of the Supermans. We'll get to that. But it's got some good things and some bad things, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 7 3/4 inches. It really depends on how you have him posed. His knees particularly like to be offset, so you're going to get a little bit of different heights out of him depending on how you have him balanced. That's going to put him at about 19.5 centimeters, give or take, and I think this thing looks really cool. Personally, objectively, as far as I can tell, it's highly inaccurate, and I can tell mostly because the reference image they use on the packaging and for the card shows that it's highly inaccurate. He doesn't have giant pauldrons or gauntlets. He's not a giant robot when he's in this suit. Why does he look like that? He has a cape and everything. Why does he look like this figure looks? And I did some Googling, and I didn't find anything that looks like this, other than this. So it's a little bit weird that it's highly inaccurate. I would really like a figure of this. Instead, we get this. It still looks cool, but it looks not like it's supposed to as far as I can tell. If anybody knows otherwise, let me know, but I could not find anything that has these giant pauldrons and stuff on it. It looks like a total artist rendition of something that already exists, but is not the same thing. So you can let me know what you think about that. I personally think it looks cool. It just doesn't match that. As far as the aesthetic goes, though, we have some shiny black, some flat black, some really dull pinkish red. I get what they were going for. I think it looks pretty cool. I could definitely see an argument for it to not be so flat, but still looks pretty cool. We have gunmetal for the shoulder pads and the gauntlet thingies, and on the knee pads and the hand things. It looks pretty good too, I guess. It's fine. The paint's mostly pretty clean, other than on the top of the belt. They didn't paint any of the pink up here, so it's just black. So it looks like a cheap, bad custom, which kind of sucks. But overall, it looks pretty good. I like the overall proportioning. I think that's pretty spiffy, pretty sharp. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's accurate at all, but I still like it. So, objectively, not so good. Subjectively, pretty good. I'll give it... Just like this, I'll give it an 8. If you include these garbage wings that he comes with, I will knock it down to at least a 7, because these wings are just the cheapest, most bland designs and plastic ever. And it's not even finished well. All these marks, those aren't fingerprints. That's just the plastic. So it doesn't look very good. And they don't peg in very well. It's a total pain in the butt. You have to heat the crap out of him and then try to peg him in and hope it doesn't break. But even then, you can fold them up and they make like a bat logo, sort of. So they go on him like this, okay? And then you can fold them up and they overlap and they kind of make a bat logo. But they look so cheap, it really destroys the look of the figure. I personally don't think I'm going to keep him with the wings. I think I'll store those separate because the figure looks so much nicer without those garbage wings. He should just have the cape and stuff that's in here. Like that looks pretty good. Doesn't have that. So that's a thing. If you want to count those as accessories, you can. Otherwise, the only accessories we have are the trading card and a display stand thingy, a little plate, which is not big enough for the figure. If you put one foot on it using the peg, the other foot doesn't fit. So that kind of sucks. As far as articulation goes, some good, not so good, all mixed in together. The head is probably on a single ball peg, but I can't tell because the neck is the same exact shape as the head and goes all the way up into the head. So when I try to rotate it, it stretches the plastic and just makes the head snap back into place. Can't really pose it. It has just a little bit of play for it to look down. That's it. Very, very limited. Very unfortunate. A little bit of paint back here I forgot to mention. Looks pretty cool. These guys have nice big ball pegs, and so they can move around fairly well as you need them to. So I'll give them that. That's pretty good. pop it off so we can see the shoulder. The shoulders are connected on ball pegs into the torso. Not really enough range to be worthwhile. Don't know why they spent the money on that, but they did. They do wiggle around. They just have almost no extra range. You can raise the arms up horizontally, so that's pretty good. You do have, of course, full rotation. Shoulder pads will get in the way, but that is the nature of shoulder pads. Bicep swivel is fine. Single jointed elbow, not the best looking thing in the world, but it does give you 90 degrees, so that's cool. For the wrists, he has really big ball hinges, which is exactly how you should do a wristy ball hinge, so that's good. One thing I didn't mention for the sculpt is this hand is kind of open, kind of clenchy, kind of useful. This hand looks like he's trying to drink out of a tiny teacup. I don't know what that's supposed to be used for. Make it a fist, make it an open hand. What are you going to do with that? I don't know. Maybe that's recreating a particular scene that I'm not aware of, but I don't know what the pinched fingers are for. Diaphragm joint, at least a single ball peg up here, definitely a single ball peg down here. Using them both together, you get decent enough range, but the top one's kind of useless other than for rotation. Bottom one does most of the heavy lifting. Is very floppy though, so definitely kind of a bummer. His diaphragm is very poorly put together. It's a pain in the butt to get these two pieces to line up and to pose well, so that kind of sucks. For the hips, full on splits, which is nice. Very hollow. He's got very hollow crotch. And also the legs are very, very soft. The joints don't hold up very much weight, and it's not a good situation. Give it any reason to not hold the weight and it won't. They do go all the way out to the side like you saw. Going forward, not so bad. A little bit better than regular Batman, still not great, and it does flare him out to the side, so that kind of sucks. Going backwards, they work a little bit. You do get a thigh swivel, but it's not here at the natural seam that you would expect. It's inside, and it doesn't really work. Double jointed knee is pretty fine for a big guy like this, that's okay. And then for the ankles, another big ball hinge, but the sculpt is really just going to limit that. You have almost no range. Just enough to kind of get him into a well, the rocker is pretty good, but the going forward and back is very limited. So you'll be able to pose it a little bit, but this giant flat cut is very unappealing. He does have a giant toe hinge also, but again, it's very unappealing. So this guy's one of the better ones they've released for sure. Definitely still suffers. I'll give his articulation a 7, and now it's time for the final verdict. I really like this in a lot of ways. Objectively, it has a lot of flaws, but it does do some things pretty well. It's definitely one of their better releases for this first initial batch. I don't know. I'm going to give it a final verdict of 7 out of 10. Overall, there's just a lot of stuff wrong with this for being a really cool looking figure. They just aren't doing the things that they're supposed to do well. It's like they don't know how to make action figures. So I don't know. It's very weird, but maybe they'll get better, although they have been better in the past. The exact same company has made great action figures, so I don't know what's going on. Everybody's like, yeah, they don't make action figures. You shouldn't hold them to that kind of standard. Well, one, they're making action figures that you have to pay for, so yeah, you should hold them to a standard. And two, they have made really good action figures. Sculpt, paint, articulation, everything really good in the past, so they're more than capable of doing it. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. This one, I personally really like it, though, so I think you might, too. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. If you haven't subscribed, you probably should, because I have new videos up just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. Make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.